Okay, like... You ever been kicked in the nuts and felt that it was totally unjustified? Well, if you're female and you're watching this, then chances are the answer is no. But if you just give me a second to paint a mental picture for you, or feeling, rather. You know when you get hurt, and for that first second, the pain is super intense, but then it quickly starts to dull and then you're fine? Well, imagine that first instance of pain, but lasting for about 10 minutes without getting any better. And then starting all over again if you straighten your back. Well, that's what getting kicked in the balls feels like. Sorry for that graphic description to start with, and double apologies if you're a dude, because you already know the feeling. Unless you were born with no balls, in which case you have my condolences. Well, now we can all unite under the knowledge of knowing what getting kicked in the balls feels like, because this time, we have Valkyria Chronicles to do that for us. Yes, you don't even need balls for this experience. Just go buy the game, play it through to the end, and then play the last level, and there you have it, a swift kick to the balls. The reason why pain is the main subject of this rant is because that's what this game has left me with. In fact, even the act of ranting about this game is causing me pain. It feels like I'm passing the death sentence to my own child. If I had one. Okay, it feels like I'm passing the death sentence to my PS Vita. Here's a true review fact for you. Most games I play, I won't even talk about, and out of those, only a select few get chosen for a rant video. But it's usually for negative reasons, except for Knights of the Old Republic because I thought that'd be fun, and Dead Effect, and only because the developers asked me to do it. Which means that any game I play and thought was good won't get ranted about. And until a few days ago, Valkyria Chronicles was not eligible for a rant. I have no idea what possessed me to buy the game, probably because it was on offer on Steam and this was back in the day when I actually had money, but I had a feeling before I played it that I wasn't going to enjoy the game and that I'd get stuck on a particular part because I wasn't grinding enough, and only after several weeks worth of grinding was I going to be able to play the next chapter before we all go back off to the grinding field for another sesh. And it was only after I started playing the game did I realise how tasty those words were whilst I was eating them. The rest of my gaming experience with this title was very positive, and in fact, it was about to go down as a guilty pleasure. But then I got to the end level, and this part is what qualified it to get a rant. This could be the only video I do where I complain about one single aspect of a game. Not counting practically all of my previous angry videos, but hey, I'm not consistent, yo. For those of you who don't know about this game, then here's a little bit on it and why I liked it. It's a JRPG set in the not-so-Second World War. Like, seriously, it's practically World War II. It's set on the continent of Europa in the 1930s, between the Eastern Empire and the Atlantic Federation. Guess which is the evil one? And the game takes place in the neutral country of Gallia, which is under attack from the Empire. You are Squad Commander Welkin Gunther, who doubles up as a tank commander, wet flannel and Bill Oddie wannabe. You're press ganged into the militia by the love interest of the game, who's introduced to us as a raging bitch in the first scene, but then immediately after that makes a dramatic character shift and becomes a friendly and reliable figure. You then get to draft your own squad of 20 men and women and get sent off to war. And it's at this point where you'd be thinking, oh shit, here we go. Time to grind me up some levels because winning a battle will entirely depend on what level I am. At which point the game gives you one hell of a backhander and throws a curveball. I'd say that the gameplay is more along the lines of something from, say, XCOM Enemy Unknown, though that game came out after Venereal Constipation. You can deploy around 8 to 10 soldiers from the squad that you drafted, and then you're put onto a turn-based map. You'll get a certain amount of command points, which is ghost by the way, to move your soldiers around the map and perform actions such as shooting, healing, casting buffs, etc. And the aim of each mission is usually to capture the enemy's camp, though this does change for certain missions. When you select a soldier, the map will change from its Risk-style look and will zoom into a third-person perspective of the soldier you just selected. And it was at this point that it hit me. This game is one of the most non-JRPG JRPGs that I've ever come across. Each battle is more like a game of chess than anything, but with shooting and explosions. So basically, if you want to recreate the experience here, just go to your nearest war zone and play a game of chess with someone right in the middle of no man's land. The focus here is strategy. You've been given a goal, but there may be many ways in which you can go about trying to achieve this. Most of the time, there may be more than one objective to complete, and it's up to you to decide which is the higher priority. In order to gain a foothold in one particular place, you may have to capture and hold another area. You may need to send soldiers behind enemy lines in order to pave the way for victory. There's so many possibilities, and I like the fact that the game doesn't tell you how to win each battle. You've got to come up with the plan and carry it out yourself. I found that the harder maps, or the maps where you started off at a huge disadvantage, were the most enjoyable because you were able to turn things around and win the fights on your own genius and planning. It felt like you were accomplishing something, and that you were winning the game through your own merit, not because the game had tied a leash to your neck and led you to your goals. Stats and levels were there too, and it does help to level up your classes so that they will have more health and do more damage, as well as having access to new weapons that you'll probably never use in battle, but levels were only there to make the game qualify as an RPG. In the end, it's the tactics you employ which will either mean victory or defeat. Even choosing which soldiers to take to the field can determine if your plan will succeed or not, meaning that you can, theoretically, fail the mission right there and then. It's a game that rewards the player for your own ingenuity, for taking that risk, and for thinking carefully about what you're going to do. The last level took all that and threw it out the window. Look, what is a final boss? As most people would say, a final boss is something that's reminiscent of a final exam. Something that is designed to be your biggest challenge, but will ultimately test you on everything that you've learnt up until that point. Where you'll need to employ every bit of knowledge and skill that you've accumulated and learnt over the course of the game, and only then will you pass. Now, though I'm not exactly a huge fan of the final exam analogy, I do believe that it holds water, and so it pisses me off when we have a game that's been encouraging and nurturing one thing for the entire time, only to then bail on all of that at the end. The game is focused on pushing the Eastern Empire out of Gallia because they invaded them for resources, and that's what you've been spending the whole game doing. Now, in the background, there's this thing going on about an ancient race of Super Saiyans called Valkyria who are all dickheads, but at first that doesn't seem important. But then about halfway through the game, one shows up and is immortal, and right in the middle of a mission too, and the mission objective quickly turns into, hurry the fuck up because we can't fight her. This character shows up a few times, and each time you're told to avoid her. I mean, what else can you do? She's unbeatable. But then one of your characters turns into one, and then the whole thing starts to get a bit silly, though quite a lot of people like that part, so whatever, moving on. But the final boss is one of these superpowered dudes. You know what, let's set some examples. Let me describe to you 2 levels in this game. The third to last level is set in a ruined town. Your mission is to destroy the enemy tank commander. Now, you can't do this until you capture all 4 enemy camps, and each one is heavily guarded. So the first thing you need to do is capture those camps. You can go about doing this in any way you want. Get all of your forces and steamroll your way through each camp? Sure, why not? Split up your forces and carry out a quick strike attack on each camp at the same time? Again, you can do that too. But how you clear out all of the camps and positions is up to you, and there's no right or wrong answer. What's right is what works. Look, the point I'm trying to make here is that this level, as well as the rest of the game, is all about strategy and tactics, not levels and stats. I was actually several levels in stats lower than my enemy, but I always won because I was the better tactician. In contrast, on the very last level, you're in an arena facing off against one superpowered dude. You shoot him and realise this does no damage. It's at this point that you notice that he's connected to these different towers about the map by a blue light. So you shoot the towers, and then you shoot him, and then you win. But only if your level is high enough. Like I said before, I was statistically weaker than my enemy throughout the game, but it didn't matter. But now, on this last level, I found that I'm not dealing out enough damage because my level is too low, and that's even when using buffs. Now this has become about levels, and strategy doesn't even matter anymore. Instead, you just have to find the one and only one method of beating him and then do that. You're not fighting a battle, you're just following instructions. And if you don't do enough damage to him per round, he just regenerates health, meaning that you're in a stalemate, in that he's not killing you, but you're not killing him, which in video game terms is still a defeat on your half. Oh, and he can insta-kill you. Yeah, you know that thing that never gets introduced in the game? Actually, that's not true. You can get insta-killed at certain times throughout the game, but in all of those cases, it warns you beforehand. If the land's battleship catches you, then you're dead, so just make sure to stay out of the way. If your tank gets a direct hit from behind, then you'll blow up, so keep an eye on your rear. So in all of those cases, I know what to look out for, so if I get insta-killed after that, then it's my own downfall for not taking precautions or acting soon enough. Oh, but in the last level, he can just insta-kill you like that. Oh, okay. Well, at least I know what to look out for now. There's no strategy in this level. You shoot the towers and then you shoot him. There's no other way of doing it. Meaning that all of those skills that you picked up along the way are completely useless here. So the only way to complete this level is to figure out the only method of beating him, which is the easy part, and being of a high enough level, which you probably aren't. Meaning... yeah, you guessed it, it's time for grinding! Now, I did play all of the skirmishes at least once, more times than that in some cases, because I enjoyed the levels. But when grinding becomes something that you're required to do, it stops being enjoyable. When levels are held at ransom because you're not strong enough to proceed, all activities after that are just depressing. It feels like punishment for not wasting enough time, and the only way to remedy this is to waste tons of your time. So no is my answer here, I'm not grinding. I'm on the last level, I'm not going to do something that's clearly contradicting the attitude of the rest of the game, so I'm just going to stop playing, head on over to YouTube, and watch the end cutscene from there. And that's what I did. And I have to say that my last experience with this game was a painful one, hence the getting kicked in the balls analogy earlier. The rest of the game was awesome. I had so much fun with it, and it was set up to be a possible favourite game. Don't get me wrong, there's other stuff wrong with it too, like a really stupid AI system, and a really cheesy romance going on. There's a bit of ham acting here and there, and though this is just me saying this, I found that all the superpower stuff just didn't belong here and it felt so out of place. But I thoroughly enjoyed the game regardless, but the end level just ruined the whole thing for me, because instead of having fond memories of the game, I'm left with a horrible taste in my mouth, like eating a dogshit sandwich and I thought it was cake. I'll always think negatively of this game now, because that bad experience was the last thing that happened in the game for me, and so despite recommending this game, I'm also issuing a warning here. If you do find that you like this game, then please prepare yourself at the end, because it becomes something else entirely at that point, and it might not be what you were looking for in a game. Well, that's the rant done, so I guess I've just got time to leave you with something clever and witty. Penis!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me. Sometimes I think this life is killing me.